beautiful sentiments, and more tag ideas. This is that fun scallopy weird tag, not scallop, but scallop edge tag like I did here. That's from the pumpkin or the fruit muffin set. The other set is cookies, so chocolate chip cookies. 'Tis the season to bake cookies, homemade cookies, all that, and lots of tag ideas.
Hello everybody, I am back. I am so thankful that Brian and Carol are gracious enough to let me finish this. We had technical problems earlier and we were only able to do about half of our broadcast. I'm going to take just a moment here to make sure that I am genuinely live. So let me take a look. Bear with me. And yes, I'm live. So once again, thank you very much. Thanks for coming back to see me again. Thank you to Brian and Carol and their staff. And here is where we left off. Now, if you were with me earlier, I told you that we were going to use both sides of this mask. So we did the top portion of our scene earlier. Now I have put the opposite mask on the top so that we can work on the bottom portion. Just to refresh you, this is where we're going with this. We've left a lot of this open so that you can personalize your card for whoever you're sending it to. You can do whatever you want for your landscaping. This is a different one that I did that I actually like a little bit better, but it doesn't leave much room for personalization. And personalization is important. So we're going to go back and we're going to take our bare branched tree and we are going to ink this up. Let's get some ink on it. It's been a couple of hours since we were working, so we want to make sure we get plenty of ink on it. And we are going to put our first one right here. And we're going to press firmly, but we're not going to rock. And then we're going to put some shorter, like bushes, beside it. Now, if you were with me earlier, you probably heard me say that you want to do your stamping, you want to create your scene or your landscape before you fold, because you've already got your score lines, which are going to disrupt your images a little bit. I want to mention that where my stamps go over that score line, sometimes you end up with a little bit of a break. And we actually use the Copic multi-liners. They come in the refillable and they come in the disposable. But these are really good. I will take it. Now this is a good image. But I will take it and I will fill in any little bit of gap around my score lines with these. So that's a little tip for you as well. Now let's see. Going along the front here, we need to have some grass. So let's get some grass going here. And let's put some grass here. And get some. Now, I wanted this to look kind of neglected. Weedy and neglected. Now this is one of our thistle stamps. So we're going to put some thistles in here too. And these are kind of fun because you can just kind of like scatter them wherever you need to. You can tip it a little bit. Let's go back over here Add some grass. Grab that thistle again. This just is meant to look neglected and overgrown and kind of spooky, right? For Halloween. Now, earlier I had tinted the bottom of this with our lightest blue, which is our robin's egg blue. Now we're going to transition to our medium blue, which is our Yorktown blue. And I'm going to start kind of on the edges. Now remember how I put the paper towel across the bottom of the card? Since I'm going to be working kind of fast and I don't want to be careful, I'm going to lay that across there just to protect the top of my card so that I don't inadvertently get ink where I don't want ink. This is actually a good practice. And you can see how this is beginning to develop. If you follow me, you know that I have a tendency on most of my scenes and most of my work to darken the edges. The reason for that is because as human beings, our eyes are drawn to light. So if you want to pull a viewer into a scene of some sort or into your card, whatever project you're working on, darkening the edges is going to draw their eye into wherever the light is. So that is a tip that you can use for many other things. Actually, this looks pretty good, but we're going to move on and we're going to actually add a little of our darkest blue, which is our midnight blue. You can probably see that developing. And let's take a look at what this looks like. Now this is kind of like the great reveal. We're going to pull off our masks. And we're going to kind of pull back the mask on the mansion too. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. Not bad. And remember, this has been purposely left kind of blank because we want to have plenty of room for you to personalize your card. At this point, with or without the mask on here, and I'm going to lay it back on real quickly here for a moment, you can begin to pull these together a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of dark here to help that transition a little more gracefully. And this is a little bit harsh for me, so we're going to add a little bit here so that transition isn't quite so harsh. See how that's muting it down? Now let's take a look at the mansion. Because the mansion is untouched, I mean, we stamped it, we left it. My concept is always that this side of the mansion would be less bright than where the moonlight is hitting. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of gray and I'm going to pick up the gray. Do you like my tags? When I use these brushes in make and takes and demos and what have you, and I've got people using them that don't normally do this kind of thing, I tag them for what color of ink they're supposed to be using, and we try to avoid cross-contamination. It doesn't always work, but that's why there's tags on so many of my brushes. Okay, so I hope you can see, I know the big studio lights wash it out a little bit, but I hope you can see that this is beginning to be a little bit darker, which kind of pops this out. because this is more illuminated. Let's just add a little bit more. Can you see how that's working? Now, depending on what you like, you know, we've looked at this one. We've looked at this one. And the other one I have handy, I actually used some yellow on. So depending on what you like, you can customize this to suit you. Now, going back to this is the front. So when you fold this up, the mansion, the spooky mansion, is going to be viewable all the time. But we have to do our overlay on the front of our card. Now, because I want my verse to be centered and I want it to be stamped really well, I use my platform. So we have our stamp over here. I inked it with black. You close it. If it's not perfect, you re-ink it, you close it again, and so forth until you have it just the way you want it. And I'm not going to spend time talking about platforms. If that's something that you're not familiar with and you'd like more information, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you any way I can. Now we're going to do the rest of our front. And to do that, we're going to go back and we're going to stipple some of the blue on here. And remember, if you like it a little smoother, as you begin to get ink saturation on the paper, you can swirl a little bit. And once you get some saturation by swirling it a little bit, it'll begin to smooth it out a little bit as well. Some people prefer to have the texture. Some people prefer a little smoother transition. Whichever way you prefer, this is your project. This is your card. You get to choose. Now, remember we said our eye is drawn to light. So we're going to kind of leave this a little bit lighter so that our eye is drawn into the greeting. This is our medium blue. This is the Yorktown. Now I'm going to transition over to the darker blue, and I change brushes when I do that. See the transition? See how this corner is much darker than that already? Now you can do as much or as little to the front of your card as you want, of course. But you kind of want some continuity. So I have used the branches, the weeds, the bats, the whole 9 yards. So that is super easy. We're going to come back here. We're going to ink up our tree. And we're going to have some crazy branches up here in the corner. Ink it up again. And let's put some like here. I don't think you can see. I need to move this up a little bit. So I've got some going up the edge here. Bring some across down here, like that. This is more or less a little bit of a repeat from the inside. We're going to add some grass. Let's add some weeds. Does it look forlorn yet? And then, of course, we need to have a few bats. So let's get a bat going up here. Let's go with our tiny bat. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So this, I guess I have more bats on this one than I do on this one, but this is really all about technique. You are the artist. You get to build the scene of your choice. You get to personalize it the way you want it personalized. The assembly directions are in the kits. When you get to this point and it's time to crease your insert, just do it kind of gently. I like to kind of gently do it and then, you know, work up to it like this. And then of course you're gonna glue that to your black piece, and you're going to add your overlay on the cover, and voila, you have your project. So thank you for being patient with me. I appreciate it. Many thanks to Brian and Carol for bearing with me today. It's been a little bit of a difficult day for me. And once again, I'm Tanya Weekly. I represent Peddler's Den. We do have a discount code, Fright 2020. Our website is www.peddlersden.com. And thank you so much for being with me. Goodbye.